welcome to the Film Art Podcast. I am Andrew Glessner.
And I am Wesley Malott. Thank you all for joining us on this wonderful Wednesday night. We have a very special guest with us on the podcast tonight. If you watch our channel, you definitely recognize him. He is an actor. He is a production sound mixer. He is a post-sound wizard. His name is Mr. Michael Mowen.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thanks for having me.
What you up to on this fine Wednesday night?
Oh, taking it easy, man. Enjoying a cup of tea with you fine people.
Yes. Thanks for joining us tonight, man. It's been a while.
Thanks for having me. I know. It's been a while since we all, could get together and shoot the shit.
I mean, you and I talk, we have our battles weekly with post-production sound.
No, we don't.
No battles?
No. It's all love.
All love.
Mike and I talk about stuff all the time. I got so excited he was on tonight, Mike. I shaved.
You did?
Everywhere.
Oh, good.
Everywhere.
Oh, my God. Wonderful. I'll use that later.
Well, that's weird.
You certainly will. What's weird about that? Saying that to another grown man. There's nothing wrong with it.
I like how I was seriously trying to burp before the stream started, and I just couldn't. And then, of course, the stream starts, and I just want to burp, constantly.
That's what you get for packing your fat face full of strawberries midstream.
I had a full bowl of strawberries sitting here. Hopefully that's out of the shot, because otherwise I feel weird. But thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We're going to talk to Mike about sound, obviously, going to film school, and then acting as well. So if you have any questions for Mike or us, feel free to pop them into the chat and we'll answer.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. We'll get to them as we do. Dead air is like college radio.
Is I had to write a plug for our partner that I've been completely forgetting to mention on our stream so far, and I didn't write it. So if you would like 2 free months of Artlist, visit the link in the description below, which is not there.
My God.
Just imagine it would and type in Artlist.
Artlist.io. I'll put a link in there.
Sometimes I think we don't have sponsors because we're not big enough, and I'm like, no, this is why we don't have sponsors. It's our irresponsibility.
Irresponsibility.
See what I did there? That's...
Yeah, so let's dive into our discussion with Mike. So for anybody watching, you probably know Mike from his starring roles in our biggest short film to date, Marbletown. He's also been in Kill or Be Killed and Slash. But you probably didn't know that he's actually been the production sound mixer on various short films of ours, such as Nefarious, Goodbye, our upcoming short film Stalked. And he has also done the post-production sound on a lot of our short films, going back to A Dinner. Is that right, Mike?
Dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, feels like 10 years ago. Was it?
Yeah.
No. It's getting it's getting to be.
Almost.
2014, I think, right? Or 2015?
Yeah.
That time we turned my living room into a fancy dining room. That was fun.
Yeah, that was we get a question already. Hugh asks, when did Mike know he have the voice or mimic other voices?
When did I realize I could do some really bad impressions?
Yes.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just, I read books to my kids and I do funny voices, and I don't know. I guess it was a couple years ago I just realized, hey, I could probably make a living at it if I actually tried and applied myself, but
Who's got that kind of time?
Yeah.
So, Mike, for anybody in the chat that does not know what a production sound mixer is, could you just explain to them what a production sound mixer is?
Remember that video we did? A production sound mixer is in charge of the production sound. No.
And mixing.
A production sound mixer is responsible for recording all the sound during production, i.e. on the set, on location, primarily responsible for recording the dialogue. And that's about it, just making sure audio post or the editor has great tracks to work with. That's always our goal.
Nice.
No, Andrew, your cam is not dead.
Why am I shouting that if you're just going to say it aloud?
I just figured it was the easiest way to get an answer to you.
I'm trying to be so low-key with our production here. I'm sneak attacking the producer. Wes is like, Andrew, did your cam... No, it's fine. You're good.
Your camera did die, however. You're good now.
The easiest way to get you the direct answer.
I mean, to be fair, it is. But I don't want to interrupt the point.
That's a good question, Mike. Let's hear a horror story of your worst experience on set. You don't have to name any productions or anything, but worst experience on set.
I don't know. There's so many. No, I'm just kidding.
Really putting you on the spot here.
I don't really have like an experience that made me like want to quit or like, a really bad experience. I guess it would be whenever I graduated, I think it was like 2012, 2013. I worked on a feature film out in Pittsburgh, and it was pretty rough. It was really low budget. There was some issues with Crafty and feeding the crew and stuff, and there was almost a rebellion.
Oh no!
I think that's probably like the worst. But other than that, I mean, I can't say I've ever had a really bad experience except for maybe Stalked. No, I'm just kidding. We'll get
kind of like
Stalked was a it was a fun shoot.
It was fun. It was taxing, but it was fun. It's kind of like a story. Tom Crognally, the writer of Marbletown, and he played Frank in the movie as well, told me about like one of his earlier acting experiences where the producers told everybody to pack their own lunch, and if you showed up without it, you were just shit out of luck.
Well, that was exactly what happened to us. I think we were in Pittsburgh for like I think it was 25 days, and like I said, extremely low budget. I did it because I needed the experience, and I think they expected us to just foot our own food bill throughout the week. Like they didn't have any Crafty or any food on set, and then I think we were like a week into it, and we all were like, "Hey, we're going to band together, unionize," you know what I mean? Even though we weren't all part of the union. But yeah, that's about it. Other than that, good experiences all around, I think. There's tough days, like any job, but
So for any low or no budget filmmakers watching, make sure you're feeding your crew. Don't make them pay for their own
especially
food.
The sound guy.
That's the least you can do.
Yeah, at the very least. And honestly, there have been sets where we're like, look, we can give you some gas money and we can feed you. That's about all we have. But honestly, that goes a long way. Like, I'll do a lot of shit for food.
Well, you used to. I don't know about now.
I mean, it depends on the food.
So, Mike, for anybody that isn't really familiar with like production sound versus post-production sound, those two aren't always the same people. For you, for like low budget stuff, and then like particularly you tend to do like the production sound and the post-production sound. But can you just give like a quick breakdown for anybody that isn't really familiar with like exactly what all a post-production sound editor is responsible for?
Okay, so yeah, so like I said, the production sound is responsible for capturing the best quality tracks on set, and then the post sound team, if you just want to go in general, just a sound editor, he's going to take those tracks from the production sound mixer, cut them up, make them sound good. Then you're going to add ambiances, Foley, sound effects, and pretty much just bring the picture to life. Actually, just recently, I'm working on a short film, and the director commented, and I always hear this comment a lot in audio post. The directors usually will say, "Man, it's really starting to sound like a movie. It's really coming together." And I think audio post is where the picture becomes a film. It becomes what the director imagined it in his head. And I think it's the most amazing experience, especially whenever you I mean, like I said, you said I'm a post-sound guru. I'm not a guru. I don't want to claim to be like a, but it is a nice experience whenever I do something where the director or the client is like, "Oh my God, that sounds good." You know, that's what post-sound is. We just make it all sound good, clean it up, fix it in post.
It is funny because, like, everyone watching has never seen like a rough cut of our films, or I should say, like a fine cut or a final cut before it goes into post-production sound. But it really is like night and day, because like the cut Mike gets is super bare. There's rarely ever any music. There's no Foley. So it's literally just the dialogue in the cut he gets. So he's responsible for making it sound like there's a world behind that picture.
I'm just sitting here wondering what kind of music he would get from set sound. Just me
Somebody
humming
in the background going, doo, 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 doo. I don't know, something like that.
So how does one get involved in production sound?
Well, I think nowadays, well, it's just, oh God, that made me sound like a boomer. Nowadays, you kids got this cheap equipment. No. If I was to graduate from film school today, the gear is a lot more inexpensive. I think you can put together a decent sound kit for under $2,000. I think you'd probably want to spend a little bit more, to like $4,000 or $5,000 to get started. But really, just buy yourself a recorder, a shotgun microphone, hit up some filmmaking groups on Facebook, get your social media in order, and just find the work. I mean, it's out there, especially for sound people. Whenever you're starting out, it may not be, you're not going to probably get full rates, obviously. There's a big need for sound people, because nobody really wants to do it. It's like whenever I was in film school, I didn't even want to be a sound guy whenever I was.
I was going to ask. It's coming up later on the list, but might as well just ask it now. It's like, usually no one wants to do sound ever, and then somehow somebody gets stuck with doing sound. How did that come about for you?
Well, whenever I decided to go to Full Sail, I had in my mind I just wanted to be in camera. I just wanted to help tell the story visually like that. And I remember it was one of the first days in class. They had all of my class in the auditorium, and they were asking everybody, "What do you want to be?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to say cinematographer," because everybody's just saying DP or camera. That's going to make me sound like I'm like big-headed. You know what I mean? It turned out I didn't like the camera. I didn't like camera class. I wasn't that good at it. And then we had a production sound class, and I picked up a boom pole and I swung it around, and I was following one of my other fellow classmates, just learning how to do mic placement and following your actor. And I was just like, this is fun. This is great. And then nobody in my class wanted to do it. I think it was me and another guy, Nick Nigro. We were the only ones that were interested in sound. So therefore we were the ones that were doing sound for everybody's movies. So yeah, It's kind of by accident. Oh, and then I also I had a professor tell me, he's like, "Hey, if you want to make money in this business, sound is where it's at."
Yeah. Hey, just a really quick shout out to Max. Hey, Max, thanks for joining us tonight. And Adam also says, "I will never be able to have a project go unmixed again." Same.
Oh, I spoiled him.
So once you've got the option,
So, Mike, you went to film school. That's something neither Andrew or I technically did. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into it for me. But can you just talk about what your experience was like, kind of starting at the beginning of the process, walking us through to the end?
Before you get into that, sir, I went to film school of the streets.
Is that what we're calling it?
Put some respect on what I've done, where I've been. Yes, it's what we're calling it. It's what I'm calling it.
The streets of McConnellsburg.
Hell yeah, and Hagerstown, and wherever we were shooting, and people's like, "Hey, Ian's got a camera."
Is that a motion picture?
What's Ian's filming over there?
Hey, y'all filming? How many times we've heard that trying to shoot a movie?
Yeah. So many. Anyhow, sorry, Mike. Film school. Tell us about that.
So, like you said that, you didn't, being a production sound mixer wasn't your intent, and you just kind of like fell into it. But like, how were like the classes like structured, and what was like the end goal? Did you guys have like a thesis film that you all kind of worked toward, or?
So whenever Full Sail is not the same, like the class structure is not the same now as it was whenever I was going. For us, it started with, I think we had 2 or 3 months of just your gen ed classes, math. I tested out of it. I actually got the chance to fly home and take an online class from my house in Pennsylvania for a month. But after we got through those gen ed classes, you had your photography. We were one of the last classes to actually get our hands on film photography. I don't remember any of it, but I just remember I have my portfolio back here. It's really bad. And then we were I think the first actual class where we made a film was in digital cinematography. We made a film then, and then we did a 16 millimeter film and then a 35 millimeter film. The 35 is considered your thesis.
Okay.
But yeah, it was month after month, day after day of just getting our hands on industry standard equipment. And that's and then whenever I even went back to teach a couple years ago, the equipment, they're using all the Arri cameras. I think they even have a couple red cameras. Actually, I don't think they have any red. It's just all Arri. They have like the best lenses you can use, or they have industry standard lights. The sound gear is top class. So it was just day in and day out of just getting your hands on the gear and using it. And that's one thing that not a lot of people get. Like Full Sail is like a place to get knowledge of gear. We don't really go over the theory of filmmaking, you know what I mean? But yeah,
because if you're not in the school and paying that tuition, you have to buy the gear or rent the gear, to get the experience.
Yeah, I always told people, it's like I spent like I think it was like $72,000 on a 2-year vacation. You know what I mean? Learning how to make movies.
So it was only
whether
2
or not
years
I regret it or not.
Full Sail?
What's that?
So it was only 2 years for Full Sail?
It's 21 months. 21 months.
Okay. Not too bad. But a hefty price tag.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Sam, and I didn't even get a degree.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got a piece of paper, but I can't tell you the last time I got hired because I I took my education off my resume. Nobody cares,
You don't name drop. Like, I went to Full Sail.
No, it's Well, usually, I mean, well, never mind.
No.
So, what was it like after you graduated? Did you go into production sound pretty much like right away?
Yeah, I picked up quite a few. I think it was like 2 feature films. It was all my work was out in Pittsburgh. I did a feature film my first feature film, Blood Widow, was shot down in Central Florida, and then I moved back up to Pennsylvania, and it was a dry spell for a couple months, and I met a bunch of filmmakers out at Carnegie Mellon out of Pittsburgh, and they kept me busy with short films and their student theses, and then through there I met other people who did more commercial and industrial work, and I stayed pretty busy, and then I got with some filmmakers down in the DMV area, and it was great. Up until 2013, I'd say it was nonstop working.
Okay, so it wasn't too difficult for you to find work whenever you first started out then?
No, well, I should preface that. I was able to buy my own gear. So at Full Sail, you had to get living expense checks, loans to pay for your apartment because they didn't have dorms or anything. So I saved up money from that, and I bought like a little audio package. I shouldn't say little. It was like $5,000. But I just bought like a 702 2-track recorder, 302 mixer, bought my 416 microphone, Sennheiser wireless. So I had the gear, so I was able to get the work. And because I was just starting out, my rates obviously weren't what they are now. So I was, able to take. I wouldn't say I was able to take like the professional stuff. It was more like the students and like the low budget features and commercials and stuff. It wasn't too bad. Like I didn't have a hard time.
So Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the work you did right outside of film school and how it compares to like what you're doing now?
A lot of the stuff I'm doing right now is more high-end commercial, bigger clients. I wouldn't say they're more stressful because I don't say every job is as long as you know what you're doing. Like some jobs are difficult, but I don't show up like I used to and get all nervous and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas before I had no idea what the hell I was doing, man. It's like you just go into it, not really expecting much. You don't really know what you're going to get out of it. But definitely the only thing I can say is really different now is the rates are a lot better. So I'm able to provide for my family and, upgrade gear and stuff.
Can't beat that. I got a good question in the chat. Rebar coming with the heat. He said, do you enjoy Foley? Let's hear your archive of sounds you have gathered over the years.
Yeah, I've actually, it was just this year I've started, I think it's because I did this to myself. I started providing Foley for short films, and now everybody wants it and they expect it. So now I have no choice but to provide it. But I do enjoy it. I have my Foley pit behind me.
Yeah, I was going to say that sweet sand pit back there.
Yeah, it's all done up. I love recording it. I love editing it, and I'm slowly building up my own sound libraries. But I have to say, most of the sound that I've been adding in is about 25% recorded from me, and then everything else is just through sound libraries from Pro Sound Effects.
Sure. There you go. Well, you do 25% long enough, eventually have your own sound library. So.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll get to the point where I'm recording everything, but it's just with time and money, it's just easier to grab the library.
Mm-hmm. Do you charge extra for that? Like when you do Foley?
Oh yeah, it comes with different rates and stuff.
It's a good call. I would. It's like, hey, look, you want me walking around in ladies' heels, you're gonna have to pay me extra for that. It's not.
Actually, I know my wife does that. I don't have any shoes big enough for my big feet.
That's ridiculous. I think you could find them. So you started off predominantly doing sound right out of college. When did you transition into acting?
Well, I should preface of my film school. I wanted to be an actor because I took like a theater arts class my senior year of high school, and I loved being on stage. And so I thought maybe going to film school, I wanted to make movies, and maybe while I was at film school, I could jumpstart a film acting career. So while I was at Full Sail, I was in a couple film school shorts, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't consider myself an actor right now. Like if somebody asked me what I was, I wouldn't say I'm an actor. Primarily, it's a sound guy, but I don't know. It's something I'd still maybe like to consider, but until sound pays the bills right now.
Well, sure. Same. I mean, it doesn't. Enough for
sound
me.
pays your bills.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I talk on the phone all day, so I guess the sound of my voice pays my bills. The manner of speaking. Not entirely wrong. I don't know. I find it ridiculous. You're like, I don't consider myself an actor, considering I think I've worked with you more than anybody.
Yeah, I don't. It's I guess it's just this last year I've just been so involved with sound and stuff. It's just like acting has not even crossed my mind one bit. It's like I almost got to the point where I'm just like, let the acting to the actors. The people who bust their balls taking the acting classes and going out on casting calls and stuff.
So let it to the actors or me.
Or you, yeah.
I think you're being a little hard on yourself there. I think that you have some chops, and there are a lot of people that can benefit from some more Michael Mowen performances in the world.
See.
Oh, pretty much always.
I gotta laugh at McNuggets, though. That's my one thing.
Eat a lot of McNuggets.
Yeah, I got a Paul Giamatti body going on right now. You know what I mean?
Paul Giamatti.
Look, it takes different types of people on camera.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We all need different strokes.
So, sometime after you graduated, you actually went back to Full Sail and you taught film students. So, can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
I considered that to be a dream job because you got paid to talk about sound all day. and to teach sound, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I actually think hopefully if I have a long career, I'd like to retire and get back into teaching. But it was an incredible experience. Because I signed a piece of paper, I cannot talk about a lot of it.
Okay.
I do have some criticisms and stuff, but the students were incredible. Most of the students were incredible.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, no, because he signed the contract.
Okay. Well, no. No, the school is great. Like Full Sail's great. But to me, it was kind of difficult because if you're spending the kind of money that you're spending going to Full Sail, why would you not apply yourself? Why would you not try to take in as much information? Like, I know not every craft is going to be interesting to you. Like I said, camera for me, I didn't care. I was like, I knew I wanted to do sound. That's all I wanted to focus on. But still, I was like, I might as well learn it because as a sound guy, you're going to need to talk to the cam op about what frames he's using, what the camera movement and stuff. But I think it was just kind of frustrating watching students just not care enough. That was a very small percentage of the students.
Yeah.
Overall,
it was an taught only sound. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was basically just people like DPs that just didn't care about, or people that wanted to be a DP just not caring about sound. That's probably what it was.
Yeah. Everybody in the film program had to take a sound class.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, though, is when you're young and you're in school, you're like, I'm a DP. What the hell do I give a shit about sound for? It's because you haven't made movies yet. That's why you don't care. You're not like, oh yeah, all of this matters. And I don't have to know how to do all of it at a master level, but man, I should really at least give a little bit of a shit about it right now, just to know.
Yeah.
And that's going to carry you so much further.
That's what I think the difference between sound compared to like all the other departments, like especially when you're a one-man band on like say a feature, I have to talk to the grips and the electrics. I have to talk to the DP. I have to make friends. I usually make friends. The first people I make friends with are the hair and makeup or wardrobe because of putting wires on talent.
Oh, yeah.
So like when you're in sound, you have to know what everybody else is doing because it's going to make your job a lot easier. And you always want to be the one that you don't want people to wait on you. It's going to happen inevitably, but you want to be the one that kind of brings the film set together. You know what I mean? Like the glue.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always try to do whenever I'm on set. I try to keep it lighthearted while professional, but I just like the team aspect of it. That's one of the coolest things about this job.
So Hugh has a question here in the chat. Are you in some kind of union similar to SAG? And
yes.
If yes, is it worth being in? Yeah,
I'm in IATSE 487 down here in the DMV, although I'm in Pennsylvania, but I live close enough to the Maryland border that they allowed me in. I mean, I'm sure we'll get to it, but this has been my first official year of doing nothing but production sound since 2013. So I'm hoping to pick up more union work, but I will say the union is very important, especially if you want to make the good money and you want to be protected on set and you want to get all the benefits and the healthcare and stuff like that. It's really important. And if you want to work on like all the major Hollywood pictures and TV shows, you need to be in the union. So.
And IATSE, just so anybody knows, that's not just sound. That's not just the sound union.
No, it covers everybody. Yeah, it covers everybody.
It's like the International Arts and Theater Stage something.
I don't know what it stands for. I'm just kidding.
Not for nothing. I thought you said Yahtzee. I was like, what? That's
Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
Union. All right. I was actually just about to ask too, as you were elaborating there, what the difference was between working when you're in the union versus not. And I think you kind of just summed that up pretty well, actually. So just the protection, the base.
Yeah, I think it's because it's good because producers will. Some of them try to take advantage of they don't want to pay. So.
Oh, I try to lowball and cut under literally everybody every chance I get.
Hey, Andrew, you're fired.
You can't do that. I just joined the union.
I don't think it works like that.
I know. I talked to the guy in it, and he said I could. Mike said I'm in, so fuck off.
So Andrew's officially in the union, huh?
I actually already am in a union, but that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I didn't know you were in a union, but
oh yeah.
So as you were teaching film students, did you make them call you Professor Mowen?
No, we weren't. I wasn't considered a professor. What was I? A lab specialist.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
But you were like officially in charge of like that class?
No, we had I don't know what his term would be. Dave White. He was a very good, he was actually my teacher whenever I was at Full Sail. He was in charge of the curriculum and the lectures. So, I'll just explain it. So at film school, you have your lectures, which usually go 4 to 8 hours, where you're in a classroom and you're going over everything, right? And then you have your lab time, where I would come in and we would go over the gear and do different kind of things like practice putting wires on people, going over recorders, mixers, microphones, being a boom op and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I mean, it still might be like that. I have no idea. It's been how many years?
Maybe I should go to film school with 31.
Let's do it. We'll go down. I'll go with
Maybe
you.
if the price drops. I don't know.
Yeah. Do they give discounts to people that have been working in the industry for 10 plus years?
I'm supposedly, if you graduated from Full Sail, you can go back and audit classes, but I don't know how that works.
You gonna do it? Can I do it with you?
Well, see, part of me wishes I'd like to go back and do the recording arts.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, I can just learn this stuff by doing it. You know what I mean? More on the post side. I can just learn it by doing it, and YouTube.
And honestly, that's kind of like a question that I wanted to ask later on in the stream. But we're coming to the end of the Full Sail question block. But we can kind of talk about,
Coming full circle on Full Sail.
What's that?
Is it coming full circle on Full Sail?
Coming full circle on Full Sail. We can kind of talk about, if you think Full Sail, or not Full Sail specifically, if you think film school is worth it and who you would recommend it for.
I think it can be extremely beneficial to go to film school. But it's one of those things where you're going to get out of it what you put in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be like that small percentage of students that I dealt with where you're just going to go dick off in all your classes, good luck when that bill comes and you got to pay it and you have no jobs to pay for it. What are you going to do,
Yeah.
That being said, it can be pricey, so you want to be careful, because that was my problem. My loan payments were just astronomical. So that's why, like, in 2013, I settled down. I wanted to start a family, but between the loan payments and the mortgages and all that, I was like, oh my God, I can't do it. But I think it's not for everybody. Film school isn't. It's not for everybody, but I think it can be a good, because it's all about making connections too. You know what I mean?
That's what I've kind of told people in the past. I didn't go to film school in the traditional sense, but I feel like now you can learn so much through other avenues such as, YouTube, and just getting out there, doing it yourself and getting on set and getting that experience firsthand without having to, pay a large tuition to get that experience. But one of the big things that you get out of film school is those connections, that networking that, isn't there if you just try to go in head first on your own.
Yeah, I mean, especially because gear is getting a lot cheaper. You can, I don't know anything about cameras, but the cameras are getting cheaper, I imagine, right?
That kind of leads me up to to a follow-up question from Adam in the chat. He asks, does audio gear evolve as fast as camera gear does?
I don't think quite as fast.
Uh-huh.
Because, cameras, every year? They're releasing a new camera or something like that?
Yeah,
maybe
it
a year
seems
or two?
like it.
So whenever I
12Ks now.
12K, oh my God. What do you guys do? Never mind.
We've been hearing in high def for decades. There's just really nothing to change about it.
Yeah. Whenever I graduated, I got a 702. So Sound Devices, which is a big company that makes sound recorders and mixers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They had their 7 series recorders. And then they released the 6 series, which is like the 633, 688. And now they're on their, 8 series, 833. And so, yeah, but that was there. I think that was, from 2011 till now, it was like 2 generations.
Yeah,
actually, I think the 6 series was starting to come out as I was graduating. So I don't think it's as fast. And the good thing is audio gear doesn't depreciate as bad. So
it doesn't. Yeah.
this microphone, this 416, I've taken good care of it. I could probably still sell it for $900. It was $1,000 when I bought it. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for my 702. That was like $1,200, and I'd be, because now you could buy a Mix Pre. What do they have now? They Mix Pre M, or the new version of Mix Pre 10T. You can get that for like, what was it, $1,400 or something like that. So gear's getting cheaper.
I have a $2,500 camera sitting in my kitchen that's probably only going to be worth $1,000 whenever I sell it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's whenever you. Also, that's why I always tell people, like, I should have went even a step bigger and maybe did a $10,000 setup, because it's almost like an investment. The gear holds over time, so you can sell that to upgrade eventually.
Quick shout out to Posh Notions in the chat. Thanks for joining us tonight. And then also Creator Crossroads. Hey, Mike, how you doing, man? So it is kind of crazy how fast camera gear especially depreciates in value. But, I think sound gear is really a great investment. And you said your professors told you that, like, if you want to make money, sound is where it's at.
Yeah, because nobody wants to do it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to be a cinematographer or director. It's like,
I feel attacked.
Well,
I just, it's security.
It's almost like, it's always like, I don't know if you guys experience this, but whenever people ask me what I do, I'm like, oh, I'm a sound guy. I'm a production sound mixer. And they usually don't know what that is. So I just say, oh, I work in video. And they're always like, oh, I have a cousin that works in video. It's almost like that. Everybody knows somebody who's a director or DP. Nobody knows barely anybody who's a sound guy. So the work is there.
I know a couple sound guys.
Well, yeah.
I've been around the block, though.
Been around the block.
He knows a couple of guys from around the block.
So, after your tenure at Full Sail as a student, you went into production sound for a little bit, and then you went back and you taught film school for a little bit. And then you left your teaching gig and had a brief stint in corporate America.
Yeah.
But then, more recently, 2019, I think it was, you left your job, you quit your job, and you went full-time as a production sound mixer. What were some of the reasons that went into leaving a full-time guaranteed paycheck with benefits to being, a full-time freelancer?
Not to lay it on too thick.
I know.
Hey, it's the name of the episode.
No. I know.
So, well, I'll preface everything. So from like 2013, whenever I realized I couldn't really pay the bills with sound, I got into surveying. So I worked at an engineering firm down in Germantown, Maryland from like 2013 up until 2015, whenever I taught at Full Sail. I left Full Sail and then joined another surveying firm closer to my house.
Yeah, he did.
And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having the check that I knew was going to be that exact amount every 2 weeks. It was great. But at the same time, I was like, I felt like I was wasting, $72,000 worth of an education. My sound gear, I was able to use my sound gear off, like, maybe once or twice a month. So I was still getting the gigs on weekends and stuff. But I just felt, it was just like I don't want to say I was in despair, but I certainly didn't feel alive with my work, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
I know completely what you mean, Mike.
I'm in customer service and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, it's still like, and then it was 2019, and at my work, they were going through a big split, like the company was splitting, and I wasn't happy, obviously, about it. And then I just had this 1 week come up where it's like I think I had 4 or 5 jobs like lined up Monday through, no, it was only 4. Monday through Thursday, I had work lined up. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh my God. And it paid like a month and a half salary working at the engineering firm. So I was like, okay, maybe this is it. I got in with a good client close to me, and I knew that they had work coming down the pipeline, and I just decided to gamble, take a risk. And I took those gigs. I was no longer working at the engineering firm. and life was great. Oh my God, I was getting tons of gigs, and then COVID happened. You know, I thought 2019 ended so beautifully. Oh, it was so good. You know, I could almost cry. January 1st, I was like, 2020 is our years. And you remember me telling you that, Wes. I was like, 2020 is the year, man.
2020 is our year.
And
you jinxed it. You fucking jinxed it.
I swear to God, like,
jinxed
you know,
it, Mike.
January and February is usually like slow in the film world generally, you know, but I was busy. I was like, you know, oh my God, I should have, you know, this is going to work out after all. And then COVID hit. And then it was like, guess I got to go beg and get on my knees to get back to the engineering. You know what I mean? But it all worked out.
So it was only 2 or 3 months before like the world shut down after you quit your job.
Yeah, it was
right.
It wasn't that bad. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Boy, what a hell of a 3 months it was, you know.
I mean, luckily, you know, like, we had our tax return. I had the money from the gigs, and I had the last paycheck from the engineering firm, so I was able to survive through that. But then, you know,
I remember having conversations with my wife, like feeling so bad for you because you literally just quit, and then, you know, like the whole world just froze. And I was like, man, I don't know what he's gonna do. Like, how's he gonna get money? And he's like, just quit.
I wouldn't say like I wasn't, you know, there was like no depression, no like dark thoughts or anything, but there was like a couple nights where I was just like laying in bed, just staring up my wall, being like, what the hell did I just do? I just threw away security. But, you know, the universe aligned for me, and this year has actually been incredible, or 2020 was incredible for me.
So with COVID and everything, you know, there was obviously a time where you weren't working, but how did COVID kind of affect your ability to get work kind of in the months thereafter?
I think I was actually just looking at my books for last year. I think from March until I only had one gig in May. Yeah, pretty much from March until June, I only had like 1 or 2 jobs. But I can't really speak for other sound mixers because a lot of my work for 2020 was due to COVID. So it was created because of COVID, especially working with WellSpan Health. It's a big healthcare provider, hospital near me. They obviously still needed content. You know what I mean? Like companies still needed content. They still had a story to tell. They still had a story to tell, and they needed people to tell it. So luckily, I did all right. Can't complain. Live streaming was big. Live streaming really saved my ass because everybody was doing it because obviously they couldn't be.
It's becoming even bigger now.
Yeah. So I mean, and that opened up because I found that I enjoy, like, a lot of people don't like sitting listening to lectures and like talks and stuff. I dug it. I didn't mind it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and plus for doing like interviews and stuff, like it's not like you have to stand and, you know, follow actors walking around a scene all day.
Listen, don't try to downplay my work. No, I do. My wife sometimes says she hates me because, you know, I show up most days for interviews. I set my mic up. I get my levels set, and then I just twist the knob. And I hit record.
So here's so I've only worked, I think, 1 paid gig with you. Is that correct?
That was the documentary.
It was a documentary.
Terms, right?
And so me and the other camera operators, basically what we were doing was we were filming a live reenactment of a wedding. So it was basically filmed like a wedding with real guests there, but you were like following actors around who were in period clothing. And so me and the other camera guys were running around, busting our asses off, trying to get the shots and get the appropriate coverage for, you know, for the director and the editor to piece together these scenes. And this asshole is literally just sitting in a chair by the soundboard like this.
Oh no, he had to watch the
all
levels,
day.
though.
Listen, what he did not tell you people is that before we started shooting, rolling. That's whenever I was most busy setting up microphones, putting mics on.
Oh,
talent.
and we weren't busy?
No.
Well, No, actually, I remember showing up and I remember they said, I forget how many people they said were actually going to talk. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this?
Oh, yeah, there
actually
were a
kinda
lot
freaking
of
out.
people that were going to talk.
I was
don't
like
think you had enough wireless.
Well, I planted some mics, right, to pick up things. But then luckily the theater company had their own sound guy for playback and stuff. So I was able to just hook right into his board, and he kind of did the mixing for me. Well, I just used my plant mics and my shotgun microphone for ambience and stuff. So, it's I don't want to say the job is like always easy, but if you can figure it out, work smarter, not harder. You know what I mean? It took me like I said, the best investment I've made is a stand for my boom pole, because especially if you look at all my BTS photos from over the years, even on long interviews, I'm holding the boom pole. And I bought a stand because you know what? I like my back. I don't need to hold it, and it makes my job easier. And I get to sit. I mean, granted, I'd probably get fatter now, but it's like,
if you don't need to follow like actors around who are moving around, there's really no need for it to for you to boom it all day for 12 hours.
No. That's
Well,
what it stands for.
The one thing you really don't think about when you look at a boom mic is like it's that setup's not super heavy, but doing this for
all day
hours will
it's
destroy you.
Yep.
Yeah, the stand should have happened years ago, but
That's fair.
So Sam asks, what was it like getting back into working in the field during COVID?
At the beginning, everybody, we didn't, nobody knew what this thing was. We didn't know how serious it could be. And then I think one of my first big jobs back in June, whenever that started up, everybody was nervous. We had the masks, we had the face shields. I was, sanitizing my hands so much they were starting to crack and stuff. But they set the rules, the social distance you have to follow. I had a strict no lavalier policy, especially for interviews. Whenever the boom is always going to sound good, so why do I have to get close to the talent to put a wire on?
Breathe in their face.
So I had a lot of conversations about using wireless mics. A lot of clients did not want me to use wireless mics, even though that and there was actually one job where I insisted on it because of the way it was going to be shot. But, it's just everybody was, rightly so, everybody was paranoid. Everybody was scared because this virus was dangerous. It still is. But I think as the year went on, everybody kind of realized you have to adapt, or else none of us are going to be working ever again until this is completely over. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of productions now are just getting underway, because, if we wait until this thing's completely done, I'm not going to be working for another year or two,
Yep.
But that's why there's all these guidelines now to protect people on set. And I think it's, it's easy for me to do, wear a mask, face shield, social distance. It's a small price to pay for being able to work.
Yeah.
So as the year went on, I'd say it got less stressful, just because we got used to it.
So are you kind of back to your normal schedule with working now, or are you still kind of like slowly picking it up?
I mean, I'm already ahead of where I was this time in 2020. And I know like there's a bottleneck of work. Even
there's going to be huge
Hollywood has tons of stuff they want to shoot, man, because people need content, and there hasn't been content shot in over a year. So there's tons of work. So it's just a matter of scheduling it and hoping that there's not a third wave or fourth wave, whatever we be on. That's the one thing that I worry about still. I just because I know like Europe's going through it right now. So I just hope that we as a country can get it together so we can continue to work and make money and provide for families.
Get that vax.
Yeah.
And hey, fellas, let's not get political here.
We lost somebody because of the vax comment.
Sorry.
You lost me.
Well, because like whenever I know, like a lot of film professionals, they're passionate about this because whenever COVID hit, that was like the first industry to let go, and it's it was one of the last industries to come back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess I shouldn't say that because restaurant businesses, I guess, are still really slammed. But
Yeah, there's a lot those affected.
So you've been focusing your career on production and post-production sound for the past couple of years. Do you think you'll ever get back into acting?
if I get the bug, man, I don't know. Like, I guess if Marbletown ever becomes a feature, maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't have the spark right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like before, like I'd usually just watch any movie that I watched. If there was like a good bit, I'd be like, oh my God, you know, you get the chills. I'd be like, yes, I want to try to get in front of a camera again. But now I do it for audio. So now if I hear something good, I get the goosebumps. So that's kind of switched. But yeah, if the opportunity presented itself, of course.
So basically for you, it's not a priority, but if somebody sends you a script and it piques your interest, you'll probably get that bug again.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, have I got the script for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know, because whenever I'm on set, you know, I'm always watching the actors, obviously, and like I listen to them rehearsing. Before they get on to actual set and stuff, and I'm just like, God, that process is so much fun. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like creating that moment and stuff. But somebody needs to record it, and somebody needs to record it hopefully decently. And you know,
yeah,
why not it be me?
So Mike in the chat has a question. Any tips for getting live streams sounding good without spending a ton of money?
Well, I'd say if you don't want to spend a ton of money on gear, hire a sound mixer. I guess that could get kind of pricey. If it's like a simple sit-down interview live stream, get a good shotgun microphone and get the, you know, like if this was the frame line, get that microphone right above the frame line. Don't have it 3 feet up in the air. Or I think Andrew's wearing a wireless mic right now.
Yeah, more
you know, don't bother trying to hide it under clothing because you're going to deal with closing rustle. You know, have it out. Other than that, gear-wise, I'd say invest in one of the mix pre's because you can hook that right up to your computer. That's what I've been using, the 10T, and it's been a lifesaver for these live streams.
There's some sound devices might be a little outside of a lot of people's price ranges, but there's some pretty good Tascam sound recorders / mixers that are probably more in people's price range, especially for like the people that watch this channel, since we're the no budget filmmaking crew, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Mix Pre 3 I think is pretty cheap. Well, I guess I don't know, I think was it $500-$600 or something like that. But
is it? I thought it was $1,000 for some reason.
Oh no, the grand is the new 10.
Mix Pre 10. Oh, gotcha.
Now they got the Mix Pre 3, the 6, and the 10. I'm a Sound Devices fanboy, so I'm always going to say Sound Devices because those preamps are wonderful.
We are not sponsored by Sound Devices, but if you want to sponsor a Sound Devices, go ahead.
We'll take the money.
My thing, I'm gonna tell, like, if you want good audio, I mean, I'm not going to say that because you bought the gear, your audio is automatically going to sound amazing, but the preamps help with good mic placement. It's really hard to screw up. You know what I mean? As long as you set your levels decently and you get your mic placement, I'm going to make myself sound like I'm like scamming people. It's really easy, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's I just tell people whenever you hire me, you don't have to worry about audio. I do all the worrying for you. That's my job. One set. But yes, so get a shotgun microphone, get a really good recorder with really good preamps, get the microphone as close as possible, and set your levels properly.
And for anybody that doesn't know, like, what are the levels supposed to be?
Around -20, a little above, you know, a little bit above. I sometimes peek into the red a little bit, but
man, I go hard. I go hard. I go hard. I'm like -15 here, -6.
I don't even know what my X-Pre's. Yeah. I always just tell people if you want like the elementary answer, keep it in the yellow. Keep it in the yellow. I mean, -20, -12. I mean, it's golden. I tend to sometimes mix a little hotter.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, with these preamps and stuff, you can still mix low and you can still bring it up in post.
Hugh says that Mix Pre is $700. So probably a little outside of a lot of people's price ranges. But there's I can't think. Hugh could probably actually look this up. The Tascam. I can't remember which model, but there's a pretty good Tascam recorder that's like $200, $300. Actually,
Yeah, and it depends on how you're doing the live stream. All my live streams have just been I just send an audio feed to camera, and then whatever the camera guy does, audio to the client and the audience.
How do I give some blue wrenches out?
Beg your pardon?
Like, tell me how to give some blue wrenches out. Make people moderators, because I have no idea how to do it. I am not good at this whole live streaming thing. So what was your favorite acting role to date?
I was going to say Marbletown, but I think it was Kill or Be Killed looking back on it.
Interesting. Okay, I thought you were going to say Marbletown. I did not expect you to say
Marbletown was kind of a... I didn't like... I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. But it's like... I don't like acting like that. You know what I mean? It was kind of a rough... trying to be like that angry asshole. I think I preferred beating my body up over that. You know what I mean? The gall of me to say, "Oh yeah, action! Let's have a fight in a creek. Let's, where we can do it." Yeah.
We were so naive.
It's yeah.
That's
the Tascam DR60D, by the way.
Okay. 200. Yep. Okay, for beginners. There you go.
Really solid.
Yeah. It's in that same kind of vein of questioning. Who would you say some of your favorite people to work with on screen were, and why is it me?
Why is it you?
He asked this question to Brittany last time too.
We've had two of the best fights ever.
We have. We go
fight
hard.
At Marbletown.
Yep.
You destroyed your car, and then that creek was just
damn creek.
The creek to date is one of my favorite things we've ever filmed, because like, even though it was cold and we were wet and miserable, it was just so much fun, and it looks fucking awesome on screen.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things about how we handled this scene was what you don't see is how goddamn miserable we all were.
Yeah.
And how much like we immediately regretted the decision as soon as we got in, but we're like, we're going to do it.
It was like mid-50s that day, right?
Something like
Rainy.
that. The water
Rainy.
couldn't have been any warmer than that. It was probably way colder, honestly.
Was that the day we had chicken nuggets for lunch?
Yes,
it
was.
I remember
Yeah.
I remember walking back
Chick-fil-A.
to the shed, and I saw that beautiful. I heard a sound from the distance, and I opened up the shed, and I was like, "Oh my god, nuggets!"
Just nuggets, just a platter of nuggies. We sat there in like sleeping bags and towels, just eating some nuggies because we were drenched.
Yeah, that was rough.
It was amazing.
Adam asks, do you have any upcoming projects that you're excited for?
We have a bunch. We have two. Well, I'm working on a short film in post. That's really amazing. I have another short film coming up, which, you did the camera work for. So I have that I'm really excited for.
Do Not Disturb?
Yes.
Hi, Hacker?
I'm
Hacker
really, okay, so
dog!
I don't remember the names of projects. I'm just like, oh, cool. So it's
Yeah, by the way, he never remembers the name of the project we're working on.
no, it's bad, dude. It's actually, I think,
He's like, Marble what?
well, yeah, Adam had me.
Marble City?
He gave me a short film. Oh hell, what the hell is it? How Long Until, right? The one that takes place on the beach, and I didn't remember what it was
Hilarious
called.
short, by the way.
Yeah, so I didn't remember what it was called whenever I was making my folder for it. So I just had Adam Hybar's short in my folder name because I don't remember. I'm really bad. I probably
Adam Highbrow short what?
But no, other than that,
you
we
just butchered his last name.
How do you? That's how you
Adam
say it.
Rebar.
Rebar.
I'm sorry, Adam.
It's okay.
I just lost a client right there.
Oh, that's cool. Luckily, he's
Don't
not in the
worry.
chat or anything.
We butchered it, and we found out how to properly say it on the live stream.
Oh yeah, we.
I'm pretty
murdered
sure
his
you were
name
on that
for-
live stream, Mike.
It was like the last live stream we did during COVID. I think.
Look, all right. So I had COVID, okay, and I'm convinced it fried my brain. All right,
Okay.
so I
Yeah, so you still don't have your taste or smell.
No, I can taste. I can't smell. Well, I think I can taste. I have no idea. You know, it's like sometimes a cup of coffee tastes great. Sometimes it tastes like watered down bull crap.
Yeah, but that's just coffee.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But I'm telling you, my brain is starting to get fried. Like I'm starting to worry a little bit.
I believe it.
But yeah, so projects coming up. I just have a bunch of commercial stuff down the pipeline, and you know, I love a good talking head. Like I love a good interview, man. It's just I love hearing stories from people, and I'm always excited for that kind of stuff.
Sorry. Nothing in chat. So you said Killer Be Killed was actually your favorite acting role over Marbletown, and that really surprised me. What were some of the things that, I guess, like, was it the physicality of it all that made you like it more, or what exactly was it?
Well, I think if I was more in shape, I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. But I think it was just, it was more challenging physically than Marbletown, obviously, because you know I wasn't in good shape, obviously, if you watch the movie.
Kind of like it's like a different type of acting. Like Marbletown was a lot of dialogue where you're running around like fearing for your life the entirety of Killer Be Killed.
Yeah, and then also whenever especially that day we did the creek stuff. You know, what did we do? We did something before that. We did a bunch of running before that. We did the creek.
Yeah, a lot of running.
And then we did a scene after that. So my body was like shot, but it was fun because you just had to get through that pain and stuff. And I know I did it to myself. You know, if I would have just ate less nuggets and worked out more.
But who wants to do that?
But yeah, you know.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think the best part of Killer Be Killed was the scooching.
I made the wow.
I was gonna say Andrew apparently coined a phrase last podcast.
Oh, where we got dirty, where we did the.
Yep.
Yeah.
I said we were scooching, just doing some scooching, and it's always be scooching. You know?
Always be scooching. #ABS.
#ABS. Always be scooching.
It's the easy. Oh, I didn't get that in your tag. That's why I was like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna not comment on it.
This is night crawling. Yeah, I think we called it night crawling on set, but that transition into always be scooching.
Well, no, so you need to look dirty. The easiest way is just to get on the ground and act like a fat worm.
Yeah.
A #ABS popped up on our stream. That's so cool.
Shout out to producer Sam for being awesome. We were talking about it, and I was like, the thing that we kind of enveloped earlier today when we were talking, or was it last night? It's like, not only is always be scooching just an awesome statement, but it's also it's a philosophical concept too, for whatever grind you're embracing, your hustle, your scooch, always be doing it. And that, I think this may become a regular part of the cast. Mike, tell us, what's your scooch?
I don't know how to answer that. So
I think you do. I think you scooch, and I think you scooch a lot. And it's just, what's your
everybody does.
Buddy? What's your scooch?
Impressions is his scooch.
I think impressions are the scooch. I think it's the real scooch, frankly.
What are some of your hit us with some impressions for the audience?
Oh my god.
Mike does some really good impressions.
See, you say that, and then it's all going to be bad. More suck sound. Oh, Adam said more suck sounds. That was Rick and Morty. I can't now. Rick and Morty's horrible. I'm not doing that. I haven't practiced that in a year.
Oh, bother. How about Winnie the Pooh? When I'm up, down, I turn around. I'm in the mood for food. Oh, bother. Yes.
That's about the only one that I'm like, I do that for my kids, and they love it, and that's about it.
I think
it's amazing.
I think that's really good. I think your Patrick Warburton's pretty good too.
You do a great Warburton too.
Oh yeah, right. Thank you so much. Yeah.
This is fun.
Hey Peter, we're here talking about audio.
You were really good at Rick, right?
This is Morty. He did Morty a lot.
I have not done. I don't even want to try it because I don't want people to leave. Maybe when the new season comes out, maybe I'll practice it again just for.
Trust me, There's a live streamer that I watch regularly. He does some of the worst impressions that I've ever seen, and he consistently gets like 500 viewers and nobody leaves.
I'm right here, Wes.
No, yeah, I'd love to make content and stuff like that, but it comes down to laziness. You know, it's like I'd rather just do audio post or like something that's going to make me money instead of.
I mean, so for anybody in the audience that like watches our videos, yesterday was the first video we've released in over a month, and it was just because I didn't want to do one. I was working on some other projects. I had some client work that I needed to do, but whenever I was done with that stuff, I could have done YouTube videos, and I was just like, not really feeling it.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's a nice balancing act.
Yeah.
But maybe one day we'll get there.
So obviously, with 1.3 million views, Marbletown is your most known role as an actor, and you were a huge asshole in that movie, by the way.
Okay.
What did you do to prepare yourself for that role?
Ate a lot of nuggets and got angry all the time. Well, I think I was down in Florida teaching whenever you sent me that script.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of the things I did, which kind of pissed my wife off. If she's listening, I'm sorry. But I knew that Tim was an extremely jealous animal. You know what I mean? And so to explore the jealousy, I did a thing where, she was up here in Pennsylvania. So I just started playing simulations in my head. Like, oh, what if she's with other people? What is she doing? What is she doing? And I found that I might have a little bit of a jealousy issue too. You know what I mean? And I found myself, I can get angry. I could just like pull it out, and it came easily to me. So I don't know if that's a good thing mentally or not. But we're still married. We're still happy. We have 3 beautiful kids. So it's but and then other than that, it was just I went to Walmart one day. I found my guy walking around, and I was just like, okay, that's the kind of type that I want to try to portray. And then it was all about just
you following around this just real asshole through Walmart for like 40 minutes taking notes.
Well, Walmart's a great place to.
Hey, buddy, what's your fucking problem? Oh, nothing. Keep going, sir, please. This is gold. Sir, I'm just admiring your scooch. Is all I'm doing here.
That's the scooch.
That's his scooch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. Just.
What was the most challenging scene in that movie for you to film, and why?
Well, the thing that I thought was going to be the hardest was actually the easiest, and that was the me punching Katie.
Mm-hmm.
That actually was like the easiest. I mean, that was like because you saw the behind the scenes. When we would be serious, and in the moment, then as soon as cut would call, we'd be all like knocking jokes and like laughing.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So the toughest scene. I know the scene I had the most takes on, I think, was in the diner. Right, whenever I go in and I forget what I'm going to say now. Yeah, I had the most takes on that one, I thought.
You like sit down and you're like, hey, what are you doing here? I thought you were supposed to get your shit packed or whatever.
I don't remember the movie, man. It's
been a while. It's been a couple years.
That was, mentally that was like the hardest one because I had a hard time getting in the mindset for that. But
mm-hmm. And that was also after like a week and a half off or something too, and that was your first scene, right?
Yeah, because you guys were filming during the day. Yeah.
Daddy
you guys
Pops.
were already filming stuff. Yeah.
I should have asked, what was the most challenging scene for you to shoot, and why was it because of Sam?
Oh, no, it wasn't for me. It was more for Katie because it was Katie's shot where he exploded into some kind of coughing fit.
I think it was like
and I remember because I didn't like, obviously that was the first time I met him and stuff, but I remember like because she was giving a great performance, man, and it was her close up, and I thought he was laughing. I didn't know he was. No, because my back was to him, right? Because I was right in Katie's face, you know what I mean? And she was getting emotional, and I heard in the background, and I thought this motherfucker was laughing, and I was getting pissed, and I think even like I went like I was holding Katie. I was like, oh my God, I was getting angry. And then I look back and he said, I think I don't want to get into whatever's going on, but there you go.
Sam had
that's right. You had that
sinus
surgery.
surgeries like a day before.
That's what that was. That was the funniest. That was good. I mean, that definitely broke up the drama.
Yeah, it was really kind of interesting because, like you said, like we're kind of the same way, and I think that's why we work so well together. Our group of people is because we're extremely professional, but yet we kind of keep it light in between takes. It's because it is such a stressful thing whenever you're working these 12 to 15 hour days where it's like high stress, trying to rush around and get stuff together. So you kind of have to keep it a little bit lighthearted in between, or else everybody's just gonna fucking blow up.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. I wish we would have got that on BTS. That would have.
I think Sam was recording BTS.
Was he?
I'm pretty sure.
So the idea of Sam holding a camera and it's just like getting it this like.
Dude, it sounded like he was laughing. I was so mad, and then I realized, he was, the sinus stuff.
Yeah,
he was dying. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's great.
So that the fight scene with Andrew in Marbletown, that was your first fight scene that you've ever done?
I don't remember. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, to that extent. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you a little worried at all?
No, I mean, no.
Thing about me, I'm very gentle.
I mean, I remember how bruised up I got.
Not true at all.
I mean, you beat the shit out of my side, man. I remember those bruises. I don't know if I ever showed you, but I sent the picture to Wes. I was like, dude, I think I gotta get this shit checked out because it just like every day it kept getting bigger and bigger, and I was like, oh, that's internal bleeding, or something like that. It's like.
You make us sound so great to the viewers, Mike.
That's my bad.
But no, he wasn't. He didn't even hit me that hard. That's what it's probably a health thing for me that I'm gonna regret.
Remember, I didn't even hit you that hard.
Yeah, right.
No, it's the nature of tackling people into cars and on concrete. Even when you do it somewhat gently, it's still not great. Because I think I remember like my knees were all fucked up and.
It's a repetitiveness because we did it in multiple takes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can only take some.
Andrew's car got pretty dented.
Yeah, I felt bad.
That old Doge, she was fine. She's a hell of a machine. You can't break her.
Can't break her. So, for anyone that doesn't know, Mike and I actually collaborated on the story for Kill or Be Killed together. And Mike, do you just want to kind of explain to the viewers how that entire short film came about? Do you remember what you said to me?
I think we were looking for something to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
we're looking for our next project.
We were watching. I think we both watched The Revenant, or at least I did. Did we? Well, I watched The Revenant, and I was like, dude,
I saw it opening night, so
that's amazing. Like what he did, he's gonna win an Oscar for that, man. And I was like, okay, how about this? Take me out in the middle of the woods, tie me up, and just film me escaping. Make it 10 minutes, just see what happens. We'll explore. And then it just went from there into other crazy things.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then what happens?
And then.
It started out where it was like I wanted an idea, like the guy tied to a tree and he has like a walkie-talkie or something like that, and he's talking to somebody. I don't know.
I don't remember the walkie-talkie bit, but I do remember in like an early draft of the story there were dogs involved, and we were thinking about like the logistics of getting like a Doberman and having like a stunt dog and stuff like that, and we were like, that's probably a little crazy.
And then I was and then I was like, okay, instead of that, creek. It'll be easy. Fight in a creek.
Mike's idea. So that creek scene wasn't in the movie until Mike was like, what if we did a fight scene in a creek? And you had a very compelling argument to convince me. You were like, think about it. No one at our level is doing anything like this.
We found out why pretty quick.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, too, because when you think of a fight scene in a creek, you know, ideally you're like, oh yeah, 2 or 3 feet of water, nice big open area. We had a babbling brook that was just full rock bed.
We actually had to
dam it up.
Take rocks and build a dam to kind of get the water to stay in, so it wasn't just because it was basically just your foot that would be under the water.
Yeah.
If that.
Well, we had to cheat the shot of me drowning because there was only like 2 spots that we could get our head completely under. One was where I was trying to drown Mike, but you know, for continuity, we had to move me. And then we had to even dig out some rocks from that place so my head would go completely under.
Oh my God, that was great.
So acting wise, was there, Marbletown being a very dialogue heavy movie with, you had a lot of stuff to build on for character development with the dialogue. But with Kill or Be Killed, there's very little dialogue outside of like the first scene with your family. And it's all kind of like this physical role. Was there anything specific that you did differently to prepare for Kill or Be Killed versus Marbletown?
I ran a lot. And I lifted
Did you?
weight. No, God, no. I think it was just me. I think I had a lot in my holster with just thinking of my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do have a family, so that helped a lot. It was just, it was more challenging. You remember the that horror film Lurking, right? So that was hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I found that it came easier for me in Kill or Be Killed because I just, I had Andrew chasing me. I had Jack
with a machete,
ripped freaking maniac chasing me. I was like, he could really kill me. Well, Andrew could probably kill me. Well, he really could kill me too. I mean, I'm telling you, whenever you see Andrew running at you with a machete, you're like, all right, buddy, this is good. Cut.
Shit just got real.
No, it's fun. It's fun being on location like that, man. We're running in the woods. That's like, that's what you want to do. I mean,
one of my biggest. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was like, as much as I love like sit down in a nice air conditioned set with like a dialogue, I like being on location like that better.
I was gonna say that one of my biggest regrets was there's some like really good footage of you biting it like hard while running, and you got up and just kept going, but it's not in the movie, and it's because there wasn't really anything to kind of piece it together with.
Yeah.
So it's not something like it. In retrospect, we should have been like on set, like, oh, we really like it when he fell. Let's punch in for a different angle and kind of like build on that. So we would take it basically from you on the ground, rolling into getting up and running at a different angle, kind of to keep that kinetic energy up a little bit. But it's when you're on set and you have like 70 shots to do in 2 days or 1 day. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Micah, just for safety, go ahead and fall down by that tree again. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Like the Lurking, man.
The Lurking.
Somebody even commented. Didn't somebody comment recently? Like, yeah, he must have really hurt himself. I was like, yeah.
Did somebody? I probably have to watch
I swore like it was a comment I saw. Somebody said he must have hurt himself, or it looked like he hurt, or somebody said he really fell there, or something like that.
I think you're right. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. But yeah, you you literally threw yourself on the ground really hard.
But that's, I
no
think
padding.
I mean, Kill or Be Killed was one thing, but I think what the actors had to go through in Stalked with the cornfield and stuff, that was just as, I was kind of glad I was a sound guy then, because, it's
running through the corn.
Well, it would have been fun, I guess. Yeah, I guess that beats throwing
My
yourself
only
in.
thing is like the running part wouldn't bother me so much. It's that the corn gets so freaking itchy.
Yeah.
Yes, when you're in it. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, and also it kind of hurts when it's smacking you.
Well, yeah, the one thing you kind of forget about like the husks of corn is that it's like a big blade of grass, which has like a somewhat almost paper cuttery kind of aesthetic to it, and it'll get you.
God, yeah. So, yeah, every movie has its
Well, yeah, everything's
issues
got.
with the actors. You know, it's like all the actors have to bust ass. Whereas the sound guy just, we're there. I can tell you what I did learn. I did one thing in Stalked. I don't know if you guys were going to talk about Stalked or not, but because
we can
of
talk
this,
about it.
Because of this, I make sure on every set now I'm going to do it. Because of where we were shooting in the cornfield compared to where base camp was,
Mm-hmm.
I had in my mind that I was going to put wires on the actors, because I was like, I'm not going to be running in and out of the cornfield putting wires on them. And I forget why I didn't put a wire on, was it Lauren? And I had to go get a wire for, I don't know why I didn't put one on her, because I thought maybe we weren't shooting her stuff. We were just doing buddies or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get ready to shoot, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this with the boom. And I had to walk my ass back out of the cornfield. So because of that, now it's just easier just to show up on set and just wire. I should have just followed the instincts, but it's a little bit more difficult when you're a one-man band. Like if I had a boom up, the boom up would help me with wiring and stuff like that. But
I remember we did the first take, and you told me you weren't going to be able to do it, and I was like, why? And you're like, because nobody has wires on or something like that, and I was like, why does nobody have wires?
I think it was an issue with the generator. And you know what the funny thing is that I cleaned the generator out. You know what I mean? The generator was fixed.
So did you use the boom in the production, in the post-production sound?
Oh no! In that scene, no. In that scene, I did use the wires because that was. I was
going to say because that one was like the camera's wider and you can see kind of their full bodies while they're walking and talking.
Yeah, that's what it was. I thought it was going to be like close up walk and talk, but it was a little wider, and I couldn't get my boom in there close enough because it's the generator. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. No, I think it was
also kind of things were also a little different on set compared to what was shot listed because of equipment failures that happened earlier in the day. Like it was supposed to be on a movie, but the movie literally died an hour into the day, so Adam had to go handheld, and shooting handheld, you kind of have to shoot a little bit wider just to kind of compensate in case you have to stabilize a little bit more in post and stuff like that. So it was just kind of a series of unfortunate events.
But like I said, that could have been avoided for that issue could have been avoided for me if I would have just went with my game plan and just threw wires on everybody and just kept them on and just replaced batteries throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just what happened, and you learn from it and you never make the mistake again, hopefully.
But then the next project you make the same mistake.
Probably.
No, I'm kidding.
There's always
scooch.
I always get the boom. I get the boom in frame a lot because I ride the frame line.
I think that is good advice for anybody that is just starting out and wants to be a boom operator. It's like, yeah, you're not supposed to get the boom in the shot, but if you do, every once in a while, you're probably doing something correct.
Yeah, because it's what did Adam just say? Oh yeah,
Adam says, he had to walk back and forth through the midnight corn a bunch.
One time, sir. One time to get my.
I think that might have been the most annoyed I've ever seen you.
I was pissed off at myself because I was just like, I could have just, because it's embarrassing. When everybody's about ready to shoot, because we're all in the middle of a freaking cornfield. It's like we're all ready to go, and then I'm like, hey guys, I forgot to put a wire on the actress. It's like, I don't know, but it happens.
I mean, I can think of more embarrassing things that I've done. Remember that time, Andrew, you and I showed up to set and we realized we had none of the equipment?
Yes.
That it was in an entirely different car.
Yep.
That was a fun one. Back whenever we were first starting out. What was it? I think we went to have like an early dinner.
Yeah, I think so.
And we finished our dinner and we were like, oh, well, we can just go ahead and, go to set early.
Yeah.
And get set up. So we drove over there. We knocked on the door. Like, the person was like, yeah, can I help you unload anything? And we were like, yeah, let me just go grab it. And we turned back to the car and we were like, we're in a different car than...
Yep.
Fun times. Hey, Frank, Artemorbid is in the house. Thanks for dropping in, Frank.
Yeah, I don't think I have any like embarrassing. I mean, I made mistakes. Like, there's been a couple times where I had like mic packs shown. Like, there was one time like it was blatantly like it was Tallgrass, a feature film. There was like an actress who was playing a waitress, and again, I had a conversation with the DP. I just assumed it was going to be a close up, and we blocked it out. And I knew the actress was not turning her back to camera, so I was like, all right, I'm just going to slip it on the outside of her pants. But sure as hell, the take that they used, she turns around completely, and you see the big old nice. So,
and that is what Rob is for.
On Netflix?
Huh?
You say in the Tallgrass?
No, Tallgrass. It never. Okay. It actually turned out, like, I think, to be a short film. I don't think it ever. But I always say I can show you the boom pole and the camera guy in Inception on an IMAX film. You know what I mean? It's like every major Hollywood picture has its problems too.
What were we? Was it the stream with Brittany where we were talking about like? Oh no, I think it was on a Miscast stream last Wednesday, where we were talking about continuity. Well, not continuity, but just like water bottles being in Game of Thrones and stuff like that. It's like that shit just happens. But you would think that somebody in post-production would have noticed that, and with the budgets that they have, been like, let's just paint that out really quick.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's one of those things that don't spend the money if you don't think most people are going to notice.
But then everybody noticed, and
then you take care of it. Yep.
They took care of it really quick, apparently.
Then you worry about it. Yep.
It's always a bigger deal when sound screws up. Like,
what's that?
It's always a bigger issue when sound screws up. You know what I mean? Like if the boom pole dips in, it's always a big issue. I don't understand it. It's like I make one mistake on an entire feature, but that one mistake, I hear about it.
That was a great take, but the boom was in the shot.
Like, I'll fix it in post, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's like, no.
We're shooting 8K here. Can't crop. What is like what was the biggest mistake you've ever made on a set?
I mean, outside just your typical just breaking frame line, dealing, miking somebody improperly, with clothing rustle and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might have been one time, and this only happened once, and it wasn't even like a big deal. It was I forget what even project it was, but it was a take that I didn't hit record on. But it was one of those, I don't even think there was like no dialogues. It was all just like, nat sounds and stuff like that. But I remember looking down at my recorder and I was like, no, that's funny. My red light's not on. And I was like, oh my God. I never hit record. But like I said, that hasn't happened in like anything that was, I never had to call a client up and be like, hey, you remember that 3-hour interview? Yeah. I didn't hit record. You know what I mean? But that's why there's processes that you can put in place to protect your ass like that. So that's why on like big long interviews that it's like over 3 hours, I usually send a camera hop to a camera so the camera gets my audio. So just in case if anything goes mental with me, at least the camera has a backup. You know what I mean? Backups are really good to have.
So guys, we're going to wrap up soon, but if anybody has any last minute questions for Mike, get them in now. So one of the things that I did recently, which was a pretty big embarrassing mistake, was for anybody that follows me on Facebook or the channel or anything, you probably know that I had computer issues, which also contributed to the lack of content over the past month. So basically, you can see here I have like all these external hard drives, which has everything I'm ever working on. So there's a backup hard drive here too, so that has projects backed up, obviously. Well, a project I was working for a client on, I have all the raw files on this hard drive, and it was also backed up. However, for whatever reason, the project file that I was working off of was stored on my internal iMac
I see
hard drive.
problems.
And whenever I got everything back and I finally got the time to work on making some changes, I was looking for the project and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, huh, that's not good. And then I was looking through all of the folders on both these hard drives, and that project file is just nowhere to be found. And I'm like, well, this sucks. So, long story short, I had to completely re-edit the project from scratch. But, that's just, I don't know why the project file was stored on my internal and everything else was stored on my externals. I don't know how that happened. I don't know why it happened, but, good thing that, I have these external hard drives with the raw files, because if I had those internal files on this computer that died, I would basically have to answer to the client like why I lost all of his footage that he paid me for. So make sure to back everything up, people.
That reminds me, I need to back up stocked.
You son of a bitch. So that's the one good thing also with like our workflow and having so many people working on things post-production, because like I had stocked is a huge, it's 6.5 terabytes, I think.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Adam, for the 6K footage. Well, so I have the footage and I also have it backed up. Brian has it because he was originally going to color the film. And then, Adam also, who is the DP on the film and also is coloring the film, he has the footage too. And then Rob, who was a VFX artist, also has the footage. So literally, if like something were to happen to both my hard drives, I have 3 other people I can go to and be like, hey, can I get this?
And if anything happens to those people, you have a 720 version that I have that we can,
Which 720 looks good, folks,
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Let's not kid ourselves. Especially on like 720 can be passable if you were just watching it on like a TV or your phone or something. But if it's like streaming to YouTube, no. YouTube compression, we're finding out the hard way, Adam and I, is a bitch. Even if you're giving it like a 4K file or a 6K file, it's mostly because of like the darkness. Because we shot a lot, like it's a horror movie all at night, so there's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of black. Yeah, so Mike, any big Adam says 4K on YouTube looks like 280p. So true, sadly. Mike, what's some, I guess, last minute tips you would give to anybody that's looking to get into production sound or post-production for that matter?
I guess it would be you don't really have to overspend, so don't invest. It's just like anything with investing. Don't put in more than what you're willing to lose, I guess. I don't know. Just get yourself a half decent recorder, get yourself a really good microphone, and it's all about just networking. It's like I had Rob Toscani, an old film professor, always used to, and he was like a big, like I think he was like from New York or something. He reminded me of like an old union boss. He'd always be like, you know what, the best piece of advice I could give you is to be that was like English, never mind. But he always used to say the best advice he could give you was to be a decent fucking human being. Okay, so that is the best advice I give anybody. So if you're gonna show up on set, be a decent person. It's like if somebody needs help, so usually like on bigger sets and stuff, sound doesn't really help grips or electric. They kind of stick to their own department. But if I'm on a set and I see grips, not that grips struggle a lot, but if I see them struggling with extra stands and stuff, and if I'm not doing anything, I'll go help them, because it just makes everybody's lives easier.
You mean you wouldn't go, not my department?
No, well, sometimes depends on how tired I am, and depends on how heavy the object is. Usually I'll get like one sandbag and just be like, oh my God, this is heavy.
I can't wait to show people the stock behind the scenes where Matt Hacker is literally just booming a C-stand with a light on it.
struggling. I know it's all about form, you know. It's
Those things are heavy too.
Yeah. And then in terms of technique, get the mic as close as possible, set your levels well, and enjoy the process. It's all about telling a story. The story always matters.
One thing I want to ask, is there anything specific that you do, like, or at least in your early days? Because, like, you know, Andrew brought up, like, holding your mic like this. The microphone's light, but, you know, holding it like this for, you know, a full day, it gets pretty exhausting pretty quickly. Was there anything that you did to kind of, like, help with that? Help your stamina at all?
You just get used to it. I mean, it's like muscle memory.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like there's like exercise or anything that I do, because I don't lift. I don't do any exercise besides walking. No, I mean, there's times if you're like booming in a long scene, you know, just rest the boom pole on my head sometimes, you know, just hold it on my head like that. Or you'll see a lot if it's like a longer interview. You might see a behind the scenes picture where I have maybe about 2 feet of the boom pole sticking out, so I'm kind of holding the middle of it just to kind of even out the weight. But other than that, no, it's just all, you get used to it.
I think that's some helpful tips for anybody that wants to get into production sound mixing. Mike, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. You are a master wizard guru guy.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me.
I can't wait for everybody to hear what this man has done with the post audio on Stocked, because it sounds so good. It looks great too. Adam, you did a phenomenal job with shooting and coloring that movie too. I'm excited for everybody to see it. Thank you everybody in the chat for joining us tonight. We greatly appreciate you. That's going to do it for tonight's Thinking Art podcast. Huge thanks to our podcast producer Sam, and also our Patreon producer, who is also Sam, not the same person though. If you want to support our channel and get cool perks and rewards in return, visit our Patreon. Link will be in the description below, as well as to our partner, Artlist, which if you sign up through the link in the description below, you can get 2 free months. So for a 12-month subscription, you'll get 14 months. Not a bad deal.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, not too bad. I am Wesley Malott. Thank you, guys.
Not Major Glessner. Until next time, guys, always be scooching.
That's going to be our sign-off. I'm not even going to say anything. Always be scooching.